Hello and welcome to another Raggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits review. So today reviewing St. Peter's Plum Porter. Now St. Peter's Brewery, there's certain breweries in the UK I hold in the highest regard. The range of beers from these fellas and the likes, also like the likes of Titanic Brewery are amazing. And this is a box ticker. The Plum Porter is truly awesome, and I've already drank this and reviewed it before, but it is a truly classic beer. It is 5%, and it says a sweet porter with jammy damson and blackcurrant. Now I didn't realise until I reviewed a damson porter the other week from Ashover Brewery that damson is actually a plum. I'm a gardener as well. Just going to show you, you don't know everything. I certainly don't, and never profess to know everything, because there's always somebody out there who knows a hell of a lot more than you do. And it's like people when they go in pubs, and you always get the hard man of the pub, but there's always somebody harder, and or better with knives these days, that has a chance to do. So yeah, 5% got this in the ultimate discovery box. I think that's what they call it at St. Peter's, and memory serves me right, it was about 30 quid. Yeah, 30 quid, 12 different beers, and £5 delivery. But I actually went and bought the, I think it was 30 quid, might have been cheaper, might have been 28 actually. But I actually bought the St. Peter's gift set, and with 2 bottles of Christmas ale and the glass, which is their gift set. So let's pour this puppy out. I want to make my own plum porter, but you can't get the bloody plum. You can't get plum essence. I can get butterscotch essence, but I can't get plum. Oh. Now for me, this is one of the best fruity beers. When we're talking fruity beers, I've even got it in my St. Peter's glass that I bought. And the good thing is, it's not a bad glass either. It's quite thick. You do find sometimes with glasses that they're thin. Put them in your dishwasher, the dishwasher breaks them. So there you go. Good little backstory on the glass as well. If you know, what a glass, decent sized glass. So neon black pour with an off-white head. Oh, that smell, the smell of the plum. This Titanic Breweries, obviously they do a plum porter. They do the Grand Reserve plum porter, and they also do the Grand Reserve port infused plum porter. So they actually do 3 of their own plum porters, which is amazing, really. And I think Elgood's do a plum porter. Titanic Brewery, they do a plum stout, although sadly for a brewery that's on my doorstep, their plum stout, sadly, it isn't up to much. It's too subtle, the plum element. Whereas this and the Titanic Brewery, the plum element's more in your face. And I did in early days of the channel, I did a double review and a battle between this and the Titanic, and they both have their own characteristics which make them very interesting. Ooh, damson tree in the back garden. Oh, jobs are good. I've just been looking at trees at the nursery that I went to let my son see Santa. 65 quid for a plum tree. Not paying that much. Jesus Christ, that's expensive. If I can get a plum tree for about 15 quid, plum damson, I'm going to plant it in the garden this year and start doing my own plum wine, because that sort of thing really interests me. I mean, this is the first year that I've had a good crop off my pear wine tree, and I had about 200 pears, although I thought it was an apple tree, to be fair. So it tells you what sort of gardener I am. If I don't even remember, I obviously didn't remember. It's been that long since I planted it. I couldn't remember that it was actually a bloody pear tree and not a wine finger tree. Good evening. Very well, thank you. Wife's cooking dinner. I'm down the shed doing beer reviews. You can't beat it, can you? And especially when it's this. Plum porter. One of these days. I mean, that's the whole reason why I did prune juice wine last year. Because prunes are dried plums. And I thought, okay, prune juice. So, cheers. I thought to myself, so if they're prunes, then I can, if I do a prune juice wine, basically it's a plum wine. Obviously not, you know, because the prune juice is obviously another matter, as I've learnt over the last year. Here we go. It's all in the barrel. Oh, truly one of the iconic. Good evening. Truly one of the iconic plum porters out there. You know, plum beers. You know, Cranbourne Poacher is another excellent, or Poacher's Choice, as most people might know it, is an excellent damson / plum beer. But obviously that Titanic's Plum Porter and the Grand Reserve and this are the most widely known, I presume. Ashover Brewery do a damson porter, and whilst it was nice, it was a bit subtle for me on the taste element. It didn't have the taste like this has. I mean, the aroma's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous aroma. Oh, even chilled, it tastes bloody lovely. I love having, you know, your box ticking beers. We've all got our own box ticking beers. Thank God we don't all like the same beers. But this is one of them box tickers. I absolutely love this beer. It's and I've got to say, for a brewery, I mean, we've all got breweries that we have one beer and then we have another one. Thing. They are all like AAA beers. These fellas, bloody hell. Christmas Ale is an amazing beer. The winter one, that's amazing. Old Style Porter, amazing. The mild, absolutely outstanding. The mild is for an older fashioned beer. I drank it and I was literally gobsmacked by how good it was. Honey Porter, which I've actually homebrewed, and I've had it in a bottle. That was outstanding. And Cream Stout as well. Wow. In a bottle, that was amazing. I've not brewed it yet, but obviously it's on a list to brew. But obviously there's only so many beers you can drink at one time, isn't there? You know. And I keep saying to myself every morning, right, that's it. One beer tonight. Although at the moment, with these beer calendars, I'm going to look at that black and tan and get what I can and actually do a black and tan review. I've been thinking about it. Like, I'm also thinking of doing a snake bite review. Even if I've got beers that are the short dated ones, doing like half a review of the nut, what they are, but then doing like a snake bite or a black and tan review, just to get them out there, because it's interesting, isn't it? I was reading about it the other day, because obviously all that stuff is very interesting. And I mean, snake bite, I can never remember having a snake bite or a black and tan. So yeah, it's, you know, there's a heritage with beers. There's people used to come into Sainsbury's all the time and say, "Excuse me, do you sell mild?" And at that time I didn't know a lot about beers. I don't really know them much now, but you know, you blag it, don't you? But anyway, and they used to say, "Have you got any mild?" And I said, "No, sorry, we don't sell it." And we didn't sell any mild. The only place where you could get mild from is actually Morrison's. They sell it. But when you're in a supermarket, you're not really allowed to tell them to go to your competitors, because that won't be good. And I'll tell you what, in these times of COVID, where home brewing is going through the roof, homebrew sales are so big at the moment. Creative winemaking in Ilkeston, not far away from me, I spoke to the bloke when I went for some stuff one day, and I was saying to him, how have you gone on with this? And he says, we just can't keep up with the demand. Demand is absolutely exceptional. Never seen anything like it. They've been out of stock on some stuff for months because across the UK and I presume further afield, that the demand for home brewing is so, as so much, which is great really, because all these people are trying to brew their own. The price of kits did go, yeah, because you look at the Magnum kits, cheapest kits on the market, and they're not bad kits to be fair. The Pinot Grigio is flipping fantastic. It was about 13 quid. I think it's gone something like 18 quid now. But yeah, the Pinot Grigio is absolutely bang on. Even their red, they do a red, which is like a more of a fruity red wine. And it's a really good entry-level red wine. Creative winemaking, you can look round the shop. Yeah. Last time I went, I says, am I all right to walk around? He says, yeah, do you please. And there was no bloody face masks or because they're not bothered. And yeah, they're all hard. But yeah, and you walk around and some of the stuff they sell is amazing, and especially for the still spirits and all that. That Magnum strawberry cider, Jesus, I brewed that. It's like a small warehouse, yeah. Yeah, it's nice, And the bloke even gave me money off. I went in and got a load of stuff and he took a £5 off for me. And I've been tagging them in. I've been thinking, if I tag them in, I might get some more money off. I didn't last time, so I did an online order and I didn't get no freebies. So you try as you will, don't you? Not we all like a freebie in this world. But if you're into still spirits and essences, they also do prestige essences, whereas Love Brewing don't. And the amount of different essences, like versions of brandies, it's amazing. Some of them prestige essences aren't that great, to be fair. But, they're a bit hit and miss. It all depends if you follow the instructions. But some of the wine kits, wow. If you love home brewing and you drink wine, I've always found that lager is one of the hardest. I've brewed ciders, beers, wines, done spirits, but lagers, I've never found a truly exceptional lager. I think Bulldog brews that Fours Hammer, if it's called Fours Hammer. I think that's probably the best of the lagers out there. I mean, I've still got about 30 pints rather, of the Wilco's Artisan Lager that I brewed in the summer. Yeah, I mean, actually, in here, this cold room, the lager's perfect in this cold room. You brew at 14 degrees. Ooh. Oh, I do love this. Apparently, I think it's Elgood's Plum Porter, and I must try and get it one day, or actually go and Google it and try and buy the bugger. That's good. I mean, I've tried brewing in this beer room, but at this time of the year, it's too damn cold. I mean, it goes down to like 3 degrees in here, and it's too cold for brewing in. My dining room's not too hot, so it's a good temperature for brewing. Titanic's Grand Reserve. The thing with this, there's elements of the Titanic that's better, and there's elements of the Peters that is better. But the Grand Reserve, now that is an exceptional beer, albeit bloody expensive. For what it is. For 6.5% beer, it is pricey, for a 750ml. Could they make it cheaper if it went supermarket? Probably, yeah. If it was in supermarkets, maybe. Because obviously supermarkets want to sell loads of it, so maybe. One day maybe we'll see that, you know. You do look at some beers and you think, why are they charging that for that? Favourite drink of all time? Oh, fucking hell, that's a really hard question. Spirit-wise, Malibu Black. The 35% version of Malibu, which was Caribbean rum mixed with the coconut rum. And it was amazing, you know, really amazing. Beer-wise, shit, that's a fucking hard question. King Goblin is probably my number one. But there's, you know, there's so many new beers. I mean, Beer Festival, I drank Liquid Light Brewery in Nottingham. They did a 14% Imperial rum and raisin stout. That is, you know, but that was a, you know, I need to do a proper review of it. And I think next year, when I go to the Beer Festival next year, I might take some these little bottles here. These little bottles, and take a bloody I don't know, like a something to pour it in. I can't remember what you call them now. And actually bring the bottle home and do the review at home, because you can't review at a beer festival. I look right cunt stood there fucking talking about beers in front of people, and I'm not brave enough to either. Sat in this room on the camera is one thing. It's bubbling away nicely, yeah. It's sitting in the dining room, and I've got 2 washers on the go as well. The amount of mess them bastards have caused. I had to clean the floor this morning. I had to go down on the floor because the carbon had all come through all the airlock. So I'm having to clean all the floor where it made a mess. Yeah, please the wife, no end. But it's bubbling away like a swine now, so it's all good. But they sent me some Alcatech 24-hour yeast for the wash. And Jesus Christ, that makes some smell, that does. You can't even walk in the dining room, it just stinks. It's a good beer festival, especially if it's at the castle. Nottingham Castle's a much better venue for it, in my opinion. And it's a good place. I've got a mate who lives at the top of Nottinghamshire, so he'll come down and he'll meet up with us, and he'll book an hotel in the city somewhere. So he'll go for the beer festival, and then he'll go in the hotel, stop overnight, and you know, and it's if you take your time. Obviously, if there's more of you, if there's a crowd of you, and you're taking your time on the beers, not getting too pissed up, you know, you can have a really enjoyable day, especially if you're all talking about the beers and digesting the beers and, you know, reviewing them, basically. I mean, and at the castle as well, there's areas where you can stand and actually do online reviews where, you know, you're not going to look too much of a twat doing it. Not too much, anyway. Stood there in front of people doing reviews. You know, you get people looking at you thinking, what a wanker. I mean, I was going to do, at one stage, I was going to do theme park vlogs, but it's not easy walking around talking to a camera, especially when people are watching you. You know, it's, in a room like this, it's different. No, I use plastic bottles all the time. I use like 1 litre and 1.25 litre bottles. At festivals, I either drink halves or thirds. I don't try and go too strong, too much. But me being me, I always go for the strong stuff. Real ales. Oh, God. I'd say back in 2007, I started drinking real ales. I was a lager drinker for years, and bitter. Heineken lager and Mansfield bitter were my 2 main drinks. And then at Christmas, Baileys, Malibu, and Advocaat. And now, drink everything these days, don't you? Yeah. In fact, there's not much that I drink that I don't actually like the taste of. There's not much. You know, I'm still not a massive tequila fan. I'm not ever touching Sambuca again, so stuff that. But whiskies, bourbons, rums, gins. I mean, at one stage, I don't like standard gins. I think they're nasty. But the flavoured gins, yeah, I don't mind flavoured stuff. Well, the last time when Robin Hood Beer Festival was on, I actually did 10 videos going through everything that was at the beer festival. But that was when the channel was a hell of a lot smaller. I don't think anybody watched the videos. So stood there talking to camera for my own purposes. But you can't win them all, can you? So on this, Titanic's is definitely sweeter, that I can remember at least, than this version of the Plum Porter. It's a more sweety, more in-your-face plummy than this is. No, they'd probably fucking condemn me to the hospitals. But saying that, I'm in a very highly physical job. I do drink a lot of water, especially in the summer months. So even though I do drink quite a bit, I do a lot of work as well. So it tends to come and go through my body ever so quickly. Only now and again does it really, really hit me hard. Most of the time, I've had a drink an hour later and it's like gone, and I feel fine again. Whereas some people, they'll drink 2 beers and they're shagged. That's it, they're fucked for the night. Me, like yesterday, I did 3 beer reviews, and an hour later, I was absolutely as fine as you can be. And but we all have different metabolisms, and we're all very different. And yet the funny thing is, when I go out drinking with mates, we'll go out drinking, and I can't match what they drink, no matter what. 7 pints in, I've had enough. I'm ready for home. They will carry on drinking shorts, pints, and I don't know how to do it. So even though I can drink I do drink a bit each day, when I go out, I can't match what they can drink, which is, I don't understand why. You think you would be able to, I've been on works outings with Nottingham City Council, and and there was this bloke, big fucking bloke, and this was on the way home, so we'd all had enough, and we were in a pub on the way home. It was like the halfway house. You went in for a piss, and we're there, and I got a pint and a couple of pints, and I had 1 pint, couldn't take it, so I gave this bloke, and he drank like 5 pints in like 10 minutes, and he'd been drinking all day, and you're like, fucking hell, you can put your beer away. But if you're drinking the same stuff all the time, say you're drinking John Smith's all day long, you can drink an incredible amount of beers because your body's used to it, and it goes out your system. The worst thing is when you mix beers, when you go from beer to wine or beer to spirits, that's when it really gets you. I've noticed, and I'm critical of myself, every day I get to work and I think to myself, you really should knock off the beer for a few days, or, and I'll get to work, and say if I've had beers, and then I'll have some orange juice wine, and then it wallops me. Yeah, fine, thank you. That thing is, all of us, you look at your beer consumption and you think to yourself, what's written on the back of these bottles? Yeah, that's all right. But I know people who drank 10 times that amount and they're fine. And I know people that never drink and they've got diseases and that, and they've suffered with liver problems. So, it's a lottery, isn't it? We're all part of this lottery, and that we don't know if we're affected by things more than other people. A bit like coronavirus in some ways, isn't it? coronavirus can take out some people. Some people that are bloody healthy have died of coronavirus with no underlying health issues. And yet I've seen neighbours next door, 70 years old, had coronavirus, been very ill with it, and now perfectly well. It's a strange world, isn't it? You know, we are strange people, humans, you know, what we can tolerate. Some people can tolerate a hell of a lot more than others. And some people, a couple of pints a day is too much for them. Strange. But anyway, oh, that is a quaffable beer. I am a massive fan of St. Peter's. You know, these along with Titanic, Lincoln Green that's near me, I do love their beers. Brewdog really, I suppose, because Brewdog do make some good beers. They love themselves a bit too much in my opinion, but they do some good beers as well. Northern Monk, another exceptional brewery. Well, yeah, I mean, let's be fair, none of us know what's in front of us, do we? I have used drinking beer and that as a way of being able to control anxiety. Otherwise, you use tablets. Tablets are okay, but I've used tablets for anxiety before when my mum was dying of cancer. And I retracted so far that I was like a shell. At least with beer, you can have a couple of beers, and you can feel all right, you know, if you're feeling down. And like anything in life, even if you do cannabis and shit like that, you know, as long as you're not, a beer doesn't turn you into a twat, you know, where you start fucking punching walls or punching your wife or hitting your kids, you know. Me, it never affects me in that way, thankfully. But I've seen it as a child. I've seen abuse. So, yeah, a few beers. I mean, if you're drinking 10 or 15 every night, fucking hell. Then, one, I don't know how you do it. And I suppose really, with beer reviewers, you know, I reviewed that 67% beer. And I had one person comment saying that as an alcoholic, and that's good of him for being honest, he couldn't watch it because he was critical of the beer review, that I drank too much. Yeah, I drank it. I know if I'm drinking too much. I've seen people, I know people that they'll have a drink. I mean, I didn't start drinking today till after 4, I think it was 4 o'clock. But I've seen people who wake up in the morning and they've been on the vodka till late at night, and in the morning they're back on the vodka. I hope so. Fucking hell. Horrible things. Problem with rats and all them, they go to a food source, and unfortunately, I reckon the neighbours did their gardens and they smelt my wife's cooking. She does lovely cakes. So it's like, fucking hell. Yeah, bit of nice food there. And I didn't realise I had a hole next to my air brick and they got underneath the house. But thankfully, it seems to have died down. Hopefully. But you're never far away from rats and mice and shit. So, you know, always check your air bricks. Oh, 28 minutes. Jesus Christ. I can rattle. So, yeah, for me, this is a close, it's a tie between this and the 2 Titanic, well, even 3 if you count the, you know, the Grand Reserve, the port infused and the not port infused. But yeah, as plum porters go, it's an exceptional beer and exceptional throughout. You know, Cranbourne Poacher or Poacher's Choice is along the same sort of lines, and they're all exceptional beers. You've got to be proud of the British breweries. We do make some great beers. It is in Morrison's. This is in Morrison's as well as the Titanic Plum Porter. I'm not sure if Badger's Cranbourne Poacher is as well. I'm not sure about that. And out of 5 for me. About a 5 point, 5 point, fuck's sakes. Pardon my French. Out of 5. For me, about a 4.6 out of 5. Truly a top class beer. And I better end this beer review because any longer I will be getting a bollocking. Thanks for watching. See you soon. And thanks for the comments and interaction. All good. Cheers. And I don't feel too pissed either. Not too pissed. I'm certainly feeling it. Cheers.